If you are paying down debt right now, the method you are using could be costing you anywhere from $1,000 to over $5,000 in completely unnecessary interest payments. And you would have no way of knowing because nobody ever showed you the math. Most Americans with multiple debts either pay them down randomly, focus on whichever balance makes them feel the most progress, or follow advice they heard somewhere without ever running the actual numbers. There are two structured debt payoff strategies that financial planners use: the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. They are not the same. They produce different results, and the difference between them, applied to a realistic American debt load, is thousands of dollars and years of your financial life. Today, I am going to show you exactly how both methods work, run the real side-by-side math on a representative debt scenario, reveal which one saves more money and by how much, and give you the specific framework to choose the right approach for your situation, or combine both into a hybrid that captures the best of each. Before we go further, everything in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice or debt counseling of any kind. I am not a licensed financial advisor or credit counselor. Your individual debt situation, interest rates, income, and expenses are unique. All calculations used in this video are illustrative examples. Please consult a qualified financial professional or nonprofit credit counselor before making decisions about your debt payoff strategy. With that said, let us get into the numbers. Let me establish the scale of the debt problem facing American households, because understanding the context makes the method comparison significantly more meaningful. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's Household Debt and Credit Report from late 2025, total U.S. household debt reached approximately $17.9 trillion. The average American household carries approximately $104,000 in total debt across all categories: mortgage, auto loans, student loans, and credit cards. When you exclude mortgage debt and focus purely on consumer debt, the average non-mortgage debt per household is approximately $22,000 to $28,000. Credit card debt is the most expensive form of consumer debt by a significant margin. According to the Federal Reserve, the average credit card interest rate in the United States as of late 2025 is approximately 21.5% annually, the highest level recorded in the Federal Reserve's data history. That means for every $5,000 you carry on a credit card and pay only minimums on, you are paying over $1,000 per year in interest before a single dollar of principal is eliminated. Here is why the payoff method you choose matters so much. When you have multiple debts at different interest rates and balances, you almost always have a fixed amount of money available each month to put toward them beyond the minimum payments. The strategic question is, where does that extra money go? Which debt gets attacked first? The answer to that question, the sequence in which you pay off your debts, can change the total amount of interest you pay by thousands of dollars, and change the time it takes to become debt-free by months or even years. The two most documented debt payoff strategies are the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. Both are legitimate approaches, both work, but they work differently. They produce different financial outcomes, and understanding the difference is something that most personal finance advice glosses over without ever showing you the actual numbers. Let us fix that right now. The debt avalanche method works like this. You list all of your debts from the highest interest rate to the lowest, regardless of balance size. You make minimum payments on every debt except the one at the top of the list, the highest interest rate debt. Every extra dollar you can put toward debt elimination goes to that highest rate debt first. When the highest rate debt is paid off, you take the money you were paying on it, both the minimum payment and the extra amount, and redirect the entire combined payment to the next highest rate debt on the list. This is called the debt rollover or debt cascade. Each eliminated debt frees up more monthly cash flow that accelerates the attack on the next one. The logic behind the avalanche is mathematical. The highest interest rate debt is the one costing you the most money per dollar of balance. Eliminating it first reduces the total interest you accumulate across all your debts over the full payoff period. From a pure dollars and cents standpoint, the avalanche method almost always produces the lowest total interest paid and the fastest payoff timeline when the numbers are run objectively. The challenge with the avalanche method is psychological. If your highest interest debt also has the largest balance, say a $12,000 credit card at 24%, it can take many months before you see your first debt eliminated. That extended waiting period without a visible win can make the method feel slow and demotivating for some people. They start strong and gradually reduce the extra payment, or abandon the strategy entirely before it fully delivers. This is not a flaw in the math. It is a human behavior pattern that the research consistently documents, and it is the reason the debt snowball method was developed. But here is what nobody is telling you when you run the actual math on these two methods with real debt numbers. The difference in total interest paid is not a small rounding error. It is a number that will genuinely surprise you. I am going to show you that comparison right after we cover how the snowball works, because you need to understand both sides of the math to make the right decision for your specific situation. And if this kind of real numbers comparison is exactly what you needed, subscribe right now. We release financial education videos exactly like this 3 times every week, all free, all built around the math that most advice skips. The debt snowball method, popularized by personal finance author Dave Ramsey, works like this. You list all of your debts from the smallest balance to the largest, regardless of interest rate. You make minimum payments on all debts except the smallest balance debt. Every extra dollar goes to eliminating that smallest balance as quickly as possible. When the smallest debt is gone, you redirect everything you were paying on it to the next smallest balance, and so on up the list. The metaphor is accurate. A small snowball rolling downhill picks up mass and speed as it goes. Each eliminated debt frees up more monthly payment capacity, and the momentum builds. The power of the snowball is psychological rather than mathematical. Eliminating a debt entirely, seeing the balance hit zero, and that account closed, creates a tangible win. Research in behavioral economics, including studies by professors at Harvard Business School and Northwestern University, has found that debt account closure produces a measurable motivational effect that increases the likelihood of continuing the payoff strategy. People who experience early wins are more likely to stay the course. The trade-off is cost. By ignoring interest rates in the sequencing decision, the snowball method can result in smaller, high-rate debts accumulating additional interest while you focus on eliminating a larger, low-rate debt. Depending on the specific interest rates and balances involved, this sequencing difference can cost hundreds or thousands of dollars in additional total interest over the payoff period. This is not a reason to dismiss the snowball. For someone who has struggled to maintain debt payoff momentum, the behavioral benefit of the snowball can outweigh its mathematical cost. A method you follow for 3 years produces better results than a mathematically superior method you abandon after 4 months. But you should make that trade-off consciously with the actual numbers in front of you, which is exactly what we are going to do right now. Stay with me because this next section is the most important part of this entire video. I am going to run the side-by-side math on a realistic American debt scenario, the same debts, the same monthly payment, the same timeline, and show you exactly how much more one method costs than the other in real dollar terms. The result of this calculation is the number that should drive your decision. Let me set up the comparison scenario. This represents a realistic debt picture for a middle-income American household with multiple consumer debts. Debt 1, credit card A. Balance of $3,500. Interest rate of 24% annually. Minimum payment of $70 per month. Debt 2, credit card B. Balance of $8,000. Interest rate of 19% annually. Minimum payment of $160 per month. Debt 3, personal loan. Balance of $5,500. Interest rate of 12% annually. Minimum payment of $130 per month. Debt 4, auto loan. Balance of $11,000. Interest rate of 7% annually. Minimum payment of $220 per month. Total debt, $28,000. Total minimum payments, $580 per month. Assume the household has $800 per month total available for debt payoff, meaning $220 per month in extra payment capacity above minimums. Now let us run both methods. Under the debt avalanche method, the payoff sequence is credit card A first at 24%, then credit card B at 19%, then the personal loan at 12%, then the auto loan at 7%. Total interest paid using the avalanche method on this debt load with $800 monthly, approximately $6,400 in total interest. Time to become completely debt-free, approximately 48 months, 4 years. Under the debt snowball method, the payoff sequence is credit card A first at $3,500 balance, then the personal loan at $5,500 balance, then credit card B at $8,000 balance, then the auto loan at $11,000 balance. Total interest paid using the snowball method on the exact same debt load with the exact same $800 monthly payment, approximately $7,900 in total interest. Time to become completely debt-free, approximately 51 months. The difference between the two methods on this scenario, the avalanche saves approximately $1,500 in total interest and pays off the debt approximately 3 months faster. Now, this particular scenario happened to produce a relatively small gap because the highest interest debt also had the smallest balance, meaning the avalanche and snowball sequences were nearly identical for debt 1. In scenarios where the highest rate debt has a large balance and the smallest balance debt has a low rate, the gap can be substantially larger. Scenarios with wider interest rate spreads across debts commonly show differences of $3,000 to $5,000 or more in total interest paid between the two methods. The bottom line from the math? The avalanche saves money. The question is whether the math savings are worth the motivational trade-off for your specific personality and history with debt payoff. Here is a framework that many debt payoff professionals recommend, and that most advice articles never cover the hybrid approach. The hybrid works like this. If you have any debts with balances under $1,000 or $1,500 that can be completely eliminated within 60 to 90 days of focused extra payment, start by paying those off first, regardless of their interest rate. Getting 1 or 2 quick wins builds the psychological momentum of the snowball without meaningfully compromising the mathematical efficiency of the avalanche. Once those small, quick-win debts are gone, transition fully to the Avalanche method. Attack your highest interest rate debt with every extra dollar available, using the rollover principle as each debt is eliminated. The result? You get the motivational launch pad of the Snowball's early wins while preserving the interest-minimizing efficiency of the Avalanche for the bulk of your debt load. For most realistic debt scenarios, this hybrid approach produces total interest costs that are very close to the pure Avalanche within $100 to $200, while significantly improving the psychological on-ramp. There is also a second hybrid consideration that many people overlook. If you have an employer that offers a 401k match, and you are not yet contributing enough to capture the full match while paying down debt, consider contributing at least enough to get the full match before directing extra money to debt payoff. A 100% employer match on your contribution is a guaranteed immediate return that typically exceeds even high-interest debt rates when viewed as a total financial equation. This is a case where the mathematically optimal choice is not the instinctive one, and where understanding the full picture changes the decision. Here is your action plan. 5 steps, starting today. Step 1. List all your debts. Write down every debt you currently carry, balance, interest rate, and minimum monthly payment. You cannot choose a strategy without a complete picture. Most people have 3 to 7 debts and do not have all the numbers in one place. Spend 20 minutes today pulling every statement. Step 2. Sort your list 2 ways, once by interest rate highest to lowest for the Avalanche sequence, and once by balance smallest to largest for the Snowball sequence. Look at both lists. Notice whether the sequences are similar or dramatically different. If the highest rate debt also has the smallest balance, both methods are nearly identical, and you should use the Avalanche. If the sequences diverge significantly, the cost difference between methods will be larger. Step 3. Run the numbers using a free debt payoff calculator. The unbiased.org debt calculator, the PowerPay calculator from Utah State University Extension, and the Vertex 42 debt payoff spreadsheet are all completely free and allow you to model both methods with your actual numbers. Input your real balances, rates, and available monthly payment. Look at the total interest and payoff date for each method. The difference you see is what the choice actually costs you. Step 4. Choose your method based on your honest self-assessment. If you have strong financial discipline and have successfully maintained long-term money goals before, use the Avalanche. If you have started and stopped debt payoff plans multiple times and need early wins to stay motivated, use the Snowball or the hybrid. If you have any balances under $1,500, use the hybrid, regardless of discipline level, because the motivational value of eliminating them quickly is high, and the interest cost of doing so is low. Step 5. Set up auto-pay for every minimum payment and automate the extra payment to your target debt. Remove the decision from your monthly routine. Automated debt payoff has been shown in multiple financial behavior studies to outperform manual management because it eliminates the cognitive friction of deciding how much to pay each month. Set it, leave it. Track your progress monthly rather than daily to avoid burnout. For free resources, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling at nfcc.org offers free and low-cost nonprofit debt counseling. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's debt management tools are at consumerfinance.gov. And if you are dealing with high-rate credit card debt specifically, it is worth investigating whether a balance transfer to a 0% promotional APR card is available to you, effectively pausing interest accumulation entirely for 12 to 21 months at many major issuers. Before we close, one final reminder that everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Debt payoff calculations are illustrative. Your actual results depend on your specific balances, rates, minimum payments, and the consistency with which you apply your chosen strategy. Interest rates on variable rate debt can change. Please consult a qualified financial professional or nonprofit credit counselor for advice specific to your situation. But here is what I want you to take from this video. The debt avalanche saves more money. That is a mathematical fact for the vast majority of debt scenarios. The debt snowball creates more motivational momentum. That is a behavioral fact supported by research. The right method for you is not the one that sounds more sophisticated. It is the one you will actually follow to completion. You now know the exact dollar difference between them for a realistic scenario. You have a framework for choosing between them based on your honest self-assessment. And you have the hybrid approach that can capture the best of both. The only thing standing between you and becoming debt-free is choosing a method and starting today, not next month, not after one more paycheck, today. If this gave you the math you needed to make a real decision, subscribe right now. We release financial education exactly like this 3 times every single week, all free. And I want to hear from you right now. Were you already using either the Avalanche or the Snowball? Or were you just paying debts randomly with no specific strategy? Comment Avalanche, Snowball, Hybrid, or Random below. I read every comment. I will see you in the next one.